I'm the man on the mic.
And I'm the guy on the bike.
And this is the Velo29 Podcast. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, Joe. Well done. As I recall in the previous pod, it didn't quite
I didn't get it right, did I? You can tell we haven't done one for about 3 or 4 months.
A bit rusty, but we're back in full swing now.
We're with it. Good morning. How is everything?
It's good. Yeah. Over my illnesses for the last few weeks.
Yeah, you've had loads of stuff, haven't you, mate? What's going on?
Little boy at school.
Oh, you got a little one, haven't you? He passes everything in. I was going to say, you're the fit guy on the bike, and I'm the fat boy with the pie, and I haven't been ill for months. So, just putting that out there.
We always make the analogy: Formula One racing car, diesel tractor. Formula One racing car, special fuel, dry, smooth circuit, anything else, and it'll just stop working. Diesel tractor.
What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? You calling me a diesel tractor?
Somewhere, there's somewhere in between the two.
No, I probably am. I'm a bit of a Massey Ferguson myself, but there we are.
Lamborghini started making tractors. So,
well, there you go. Let's put that out there. That's not me though, but yeah, brilliant, good. So, other than illness, I've noticed there's a new backdrop. Is it some new events we're going to talk about today?
That's the theme of the pod, isn't it? Yeah. Some new events. We love new events.
Tell me. What have you come up with? Because I haven't. By the way, I'll just tell you, everybody, I've not been consulted on these names, so I don't know what we've got here. I know. Normally, but there we are. We'll see how they're working. So what we got?
We spend a huge amount of time thinking about are we doing the right events, and up until about 3 years ago, we always thought that you had an event in the calendar, and that would be part of people's calendar. And so the butter tubs in June, everybody would think, the butter tubs is in June. I'll do it.
But it's kind of all changed anyway, isn't it? So,
and then before, but pre-pandemic, we sort of thought, well, actually, inserting a new event and perhaps only having it for a short period of time, or bringing back an old event and dropping things off and rotating the calendar actually gets more people involved than the sort of the ongoing. And so, especially for our loyal customers who do 10 events a year, they want some diversity, don't they? They like the classics and the important ones, and then there's the other ones.
What's new?
So we sort of swayed to that way of thinking, and then the pandemic forced it anyway. There wasn't space in 2021.
That is the way, because my wife at Christmas, she wants her pajamas and her slippers, but she also wants a surprise. And normally that surprise, would be that I disappear for 2 weeks, but hopefully not. So what have we got? What are the surprises?
So
there's something behind you. Strade Shropshire.
Yeah. With the Cheshire Cat, Tour of Lancashire, mega popular events. Those people have asked us loads to do more events in the West. And it's, you sort of think, right, next year we must do more events in the West. And that 2020, 2021, that was a bit of a tricky thing to do, because you've got
no one wants to start anything new,
logistics, hotel, all that kind of thing. Speaking to new headquarters, the ones that we used in the past all said, turn up, no problem. We know how you operate, it's fine. New ones are like, you're going to bring 1,000 people to our college. That's not going to be popular with governors and stuff, is it? So it wasn't really the right thing to do. But next year, nice, clean, smooth calendar. We hope. So we've shoehorned into, March was always cram-packed full, and some really important events everyone loves doing in March, so we haven't messed with that. York, Lancashire, Daffodils, Cat. So great March, just need a bit of decent weather. Manchester, Sheffield, early April, popular event. Snake Pass, hard, gets you sort of, you've done the less hard ones, you're ready for a real challenge. Strade Shropshire, 10th of April. So looking at our sort of demographic, where people are based, to sort of we always want more people. We always people to do foreign events, as we call them. So if it's Yorkshire, it's not foreign. If it's outside of Yorkshire, it's foreign. So the foreign events, it's great to get people to do them, and then they come back to Yorkshire as well with us and do our other events. So Strade Shropshire, just south of sort of Manchester, Liverpool, all those kind of places, but close enough to Birmingham So those guys can take part as well. So Shrewsbury, out into some wonderful countryside that actually I don't know at all. So a lot of work done into finding the right routes and some nice bits of the world, like we always do. So I think Strade Shropshire will be a really good event.
And what would you say terrain wise? What's this one got?
It's on the scale of our spotters, I would say it's a medium. It's maybe over a medium, so it's probably comparable to Tour of Lancashire, something like that. So it's tough, and the short route is not pan flat 20-mile sort of tick the box thing. It's a proper ride, the short route on Strade. Yeah. Medium's tough, long is that bit tougher, but lovely part of the world. I wish I was able to ride it myself. I might stay a day extra or something and do the ride, because it looks really glorious. And there's two areas of natural beauty, and we kind of circumnavigate the whole thing in a bit of a backwards L or something like that. It should be great. So fingers crossed that's a popular event.
And what areas is that covering route wise, off the top of your head? What kind of places?
Well, it's sort of dancing along the border of Wales, really. So and I'm trying to think of places that listeners who don't know the area very well would perhaps identify with.
You said Shrewsbury, haven't you?
Start from Shrewsbury and sort of go southwest following the border, really. So we don't we might dip our toe into Wales, but only very slightly. Yeah. Look at the route map. There's it's villages and names and stuff like that probably our listeners won't really identify with. We do go through something called the bog, which might be interesting.
I'm cycling the bog.
Cycling through the bog. We'll maybe get some special signage made up for that. Yeah.
Don't get flushed down the bog. See, I'm there. I'm with you.
Clunton Castle, people might know.
Clunton Castle.
Yeah, and there's a lovely climb. Oh, well, I think it's called Clun Castle, just outside of Clunton. Lovely part of the world. Looks like there's a nice climb there as well on the long route. So
great.
Have a look.
So that's April the 10th.
That's April the 10th.
Brilliant.
And then when we did the Cycle Classic this year, we said, it's a good event, but we don't have enough penetration in the area. So that's sort of Peterborough, Melton Mowbray, Rutland, that kind of part of the world. So the people down there have never really heard of us. So we were just another organizer. Why do their event? So we thought, well, to make that event a success, we really need a second event as well. And then we'll start to sort of penetrate that part of the world. And it's a great part of the world, totally different to Yorkshire in that it's flatter.
I was going to say it's much flatter, isn't it?
There are hills, but it's rolling. So it's a different kind of ride, but pleasant, very, very pleasant. So we scratched our heads, what can we do? And then I suddenly thought, well, hang on a minute. We bought Kilo to Go all those years ago, and they had an event called Flat Out in the Fens, which was similar to our Lincoln 262, but flatter, if you can believe it. So we had a look at that. They did it up until 2015, I think. And then
so it's not that long ago.
No, we bought them in 16. So the last time they did it was 15. They didn't.
And sometimes there is that nostalgia, because people remember the name, but they don't necessarily remember, how good or how bad it was or whatever. And do you know what I mean? It is useful when you've had that little hiatus that you kind of bring it back and go, hang on a minute, I remember that. But they don't remember the details, so you can kind of do what you like. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Oh, that's a really good idea, mate. That's a really cool idea.
It's
I'm still waiting for you to do the one in Cornwall. I mean,
the Cornwall tour.
Yeah.
It wasn't so popular.
I know.
It's finding the roads down there, isn't it?
It really is.
It's not fitting with what we do. I always say, don't just have 3 big hills and don't care how you get to them. Exactly. And when I look at Cornwall, there's some stunning 5-mile sections, but then to get to the next, they don't. And that was that event down there.
That is kind of Cornwall as a description, really. Some stunning places, but then you've got kind of nothing in between, and then stunning places, and then you know what I mean. And that kind of sums up Cornwall. So
yeah,
that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
It's an awful long way to go as well.
I'll do it anyway.
So yeah, 11th of June. So June has suddenly become a really big month.
Good.
11. We don't just cram events into any old day. We sort of, ease you in March, push you on in April, some big challenges in May, and then some really meaty. If you only ride your bike 3 times in June, you'll still get in about 1,000 kilometers because there's some massive events, and that's Flat Out in the Fens, Lincoln 262, and the Beast. So 3 consecutive weekends. That'll be some serious riding.
Brilliant. And how far is the Flat Out in the Fens one?
246 kilometers.
Wow, 246.
But only 477 meters.
Right, so it is literally flat out.
Flat. Yeah.
Okay. Very different to some of the others, like you say, the ones that you do in Yorkshire. How does that affect, would you say, the kind of organising, or is it no different?
The foreign events are always a bit tricky. Especially, somebody rings me up about a Yorkshire event. I always take the mick out of the emergency calls, and it's I passed a cow, there's a green field and a railway bridge. All right, if it's Yorkshire, I probably know where that is. Yeah. But when they say, there's a sign for Ely left, and I'm like,
could be anywhere because
I'm struggling a bit. So there's always that. It's all other than a few of us, everybody else at Velo29 works and other jobs during the week. And so to pop to the local, down to Stockton or something's quite fine. Yeah. But when we go down to Peterborough or something like that, it consumes all of the Saturday. They're getting home hideously late on the Sunday night. And then they've got to go to the day job on a Monday. So you're asking a lot of them. And to do that, Beast takes it out of us. Lincoln took it out of us. And so to go to Peterborough and do 245 kilometers before both of those, it's going to take it out of us. So it's making it tough. But, the minute, this isn't maybe something we'll always do, but we're dropping things like the Butter Tubs and Whitby, which were sort of standard events, for things like Strider, Shropshire, Flat Out.
You can't juggle everything, can you? Something's got to go sometimes.
No, people at the minute, the world wants longer, tougher, more prolific events at the minute. We used to, 2012, 2014, the Olympic and the Grand Depart effect, people just wanted to ride the bikes and they wanted to explore new parts of the world. And if you said, let's do 30 miles from Darlington, there was enough people to do it. But now that isn't the case. And we're getting different kinds of people who want different kinds of challenges. And so hence events like Flat Out in the Fens. Might not be the case forever. We might go back to shorter, less. And
is that open to people already? Have you actually launched that?
It is, yeah. All the new events, well, those 2 that we talked about, popular so far. And I think there'll be, Flat Out in the Fens, there's only so many people who want to do 245k. There are shorter options, but we'll have to build that part of the world up. So I think it'll become a 400 rider event like Lincoln is, but it'll maybe take a little bit longer than Lincoln did.
Right. And you've got one more that we haven't talked about, and I don't even know anything about this event.
Nobody does other than me.
Other than you. Well, there you go. Spill the beans.
The Cheshire Classic.
Cheshire Classic.
Yeah, it stood in Crewe Park for the Cheshire Cat in September last year. Always we're going to move the Cheshire Cat back to March. So next year the Cat is in March, as everybody knows. But stood there in Crewe, I thought September's a good month to do an event from Crewe.
And you talked in the last pod about there being a kind of gap now because you've shown that it works in September. So how different is this to the Cat?
As different as we can make it. So the challenge, the route's still coming together, and that's why it's not on the website yet. But the challenge with that part of the world, you've got some big populations, some big motorways, and sort of navigating through. There's only so many routes, so we need.
So there'll be some repetition, but
to an extent, yeah. I think it will be completely different. We'll head in a different direction. It's just, if for our Yorkshire customers who come over to there, we wanted to. If you ride down, Yorkshire can look the same. You can ride down to Whitby or you can ride to Scarborough, and if you didn't know the area, you think it's quite the same. So we don't want that effect for our Yorkshire people. So whilst we won't use any of the same roads, we want them to be a different feeling to the roads. If that makes sense. So the Cheshire Cat, the hills they're spread out, and in between, it's sort of urban, Malcorp, more countryside, twisting, turning, quite pleasant. Another few hills, and then back into the urban. So we want to do it different to that, which is why it's not on the website yet, because it's taking me a little bit of time.
Okay, well, that sounds interesting.
And yeah, it's made. September is now. We used to do the White Horse in September. Yeah. That was it. We've now got Selby, White Horse, Great Yorkshire spilling into October, and we're going to have Cheshire Classic as well. So four big events. In a short period of time. It's good.
You're going to have a busy year, mate.
I always have a busy year.
You love it though, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, even this year, doing 12 events in 14 weeks. It was great. It was stressful and tiring and didn't do me the world of good, but it was great. And to see everybody on a weekend and all of that kind of business, it was. And when you get in the flow of it, everything's kind of like... the vans are ready, the unit's all sorted, and you just turn up and go. The hardest thing is like York on the 5th of March, when we haven't done a big event for ages, and everyone's lethargic. The riders' bikes are knackered. They haven't done any training. That's the hardest event of the year, and it really shouldn't be.
So I didn't prepare you for this, but I'm going to throw this at you and see what your answer is. If somebody could only do 3 events next year, what would you be saying?
If they're not,
it's a good one, isn't it?
It's a tough one, yeah. I would do York in the 1st of March, because it's just
easy.
It's easy as you in. I'd go for the medium route. Let's assume they've done plenty of riding, but they want to up the game a bit for the because they want to get into organised events. I'd do York because there's loads of people there. You can always change and do the long route if you want. If you're feeling good, enter the medium. It's not overly difficult. You get that whole sportive experience of riding with lots of people and that kind of thing. So I'd do York. Right. I'd probably then do something like, take traveling out the question, I'd do Stride Shropshire, because it's totally diverse. You probably won't have ridden there before. I don't think we'll have hardly any customers who've ridden there before. So I do Strade because it's new, it's exciting. You're going to be one of the first people to do a brand new event, which is something to look back on. Because I do think this will be the Cheshire Cat, a Tour of Lancashire. It'll be a massive event. So it'll be nice to have been there on the first edition. So I do that. The medal. I'm pointing at my screen. The medal will be the artwork like that, but we'll put a little 1 on it so that we know that people have done the first one, just to make it a bit special. And then I'd be going for something mega challenging in June. So you've got Fens, Lincoln, Beast. Beast is, in honesty, probably going to be beyond the first year sportive rider. I would go for Lincoln. And the great thing of Lincoln is you do the 161 course, and then you got a choice of doing the 262. you can set off on the 262, and if it goes belly up. Fens is similar. There's three routes, but you got to commit at the start. So I would go for one of Fens or Lincoln. I'd save the Beast in the back pocket for another year.
Love it. Good, nice little summary based on no prep. Well done, mate. Well done. Yeah. He knows his work. Cool. So thank you, mate. Just before we're up,
something else? Well, my indoor riding continues to progress, and there's a new app where I found we can load our sportive routes, and it uses Google Earth, So I have to be a paid person, although we're working on some kind of negotiation around that because of all the people that Velo29 will bring. But I create a route. So we've done it for the Daisy Chain, the festive charity one. People download the app, much the same as Zwift. Download the app. I send you a code, which is a code for that ride. And then it uses Google Earth imagery to do the ride. So you can ride it whenever you want, but we're going to do some organized
virtual sportives.
Yeah, just like a sample. So we're going to start by, it's a new Daisy Chain route. So we want to put the feelers out on that a little bit. So you get, there'll be me or maybe another ride leader will do it, but you can just do it yourself as well. And then we're going to do some iconic climbs. So, you know, let's take Winnets Pass, 5 mile before, 5 mile after, including Winnets Pass. Come ride up the Winnets Pass with us and see what you think. So stuff like that. I think it's a new I wish we had that in March 2020.
Yeah,
absolutely. Been enormous, absolutely enormous. But I think, you know, it's raining.
Well, mate, you know, I don't want to be a pessimist, but it's always good to be ready for the next lockdown. So.
Austria, Slovakia, Germany. We've got exactly 20 miles of water and a 10% at best higher rate of vaccinated people,
and a lot of people that are still travelling. So
will that save us? It might, but it is going to be tight, I think. So, yeah. On that pessimistic note, we're going to do another pod before the end of the year, aren't we? A Christmas special, is that right? Yeah. We can get on our Christmas hats and play some music.
Mate, I've already started. I got Santa here already, mate. I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in already. You know me, mate. I get festive very early, normally about January. So
New Year out of the way
for me. Yeah, Christmas all year for me. Brilliant. All right, buddy. Well, we'll speak soon, and everybody will speak to you soon.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye for now.